Once upon a time, Chris called Dan and said, "I'm having an idea." When Dan got over his initial shock and horror, he agreed to hear Chris out. Suddenly, a podcast was born, and somehow I was suckered into recording the intro to give them a little bit of legitimacy. And so, here we are. Welcome to the Dan and Chris Save the World podcast.
Hello?
Daniel Crockett, king of the wild frontier.
That's not what I was expecting. I lost that train of thought when you said that.
I got all my Old West, ancient West colonial time guys all confused. I think it's actually Davy Crockett.
Davy Crockett, yeah.
Davy Crockett was the
Daniel
king of the
Boone.
Daniel Boone, that's it.
Because we used to listen to the Daniel Boone story all the time. This on tape. One of the early stories on tape. And I remember them saying Daniel, or Daniel, or something. I don't know. There was, and I don't know, but yeah.
So guess what?
What?
I have but one thing I want to say to you right now.
Only one?
May the 4th be with you.
Oh, and also with you.
You can always find the Catholics in the crowd.
I know. I said that during a meeting today, and because someone else said May the 4th said it, and I responded, and I said, yeah, and no one answered, but I said, you can tell who the Catholics were, but no one gave into that one. So.
Or there's the new one now. This is the May.
This is the May, yes. Things we come up with. It's crazy. When did this first become a thing?
Only in the past couple of years.
I thought so.
I mean, I don't really remember specifically, but it's only been in the past couple of years. I think FC3 is older than May the 4th be with you. It's close. It's got to be real close.
May the 4th be with you start. Let's see. The first use of the phrase happened on May 4th, 1979.
Really?
That's what it says. Let me see.
Wow.
One day after Margaret Thatcher was elected as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, her political party placed an advertisement in the newspaper that included the phrase, "May the 4th be with you."
Well, it doesn't have a real kind of Star Wars feel to it.
Started from a British political ad. It's a whole bunch of things are saying that.
Well, okay.
A UK Conservative Party paid for a newspaper advertisement saying, "May the 4th be with you." Maggie, congratulations. So for Maggie Thatcher there.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, everything is saying, May 4th, 1979. It just seems to have gotten bigger recently.
Yeah, well, I just feel like it's become a Star Wars thing in the past couple of years, really. But yeah, apparently I was wrong.
I thought so too. I'm actually surprised to see that. So yeah, okay, there you go.
How are you feeling there, young man?
I am doing pretty well right now because this is my off week here. So I've had a week with no chemo.
Okay.
So I am back to, I don't know if it's full strength. I'm back to closer to what my strength was before. Endurance, not strength, endurance.
Mm-hmm.
So closer to that anyway. So that's better.
Mm-hmm.
And tomorrow I start pills again, and they're upping the dose. So
yeah, I think I saw your Facebook post about that.
So normally before it was 3 pills twice a day. Now it's going to be 4 pills twice a day, which is what I started with.
Mm-hmm.
But that got so messed up with the IV stuff and everything that I cut back on the pills right away. That was the first thing to go when all the IV stuff came around.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy not to have the IV. Let me tell you that.
I can imagine.
So this is 4 pills a day. So hopefully it won't affect me too much more.
Okay.
I said the biggest thing that I see is just the endurance, the fatigue. If I fatigue a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, and there's diarrhea also, but the diarrhea is easier to control, and it's just liquidy.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, doing okay right now. I mowed the lawn today without getting out of breath, so that was nice. Last time I mowed, I was still on the pills, and I had to stop, kind of not really stop, but I just had to pause and just catch my breath for a little bit. And
right.
I got the self-propelled mower, so it's not too bad. But
that's good.
Just the walking and pushing it was just enough to to do it. So
when I bought my new mower last year, I actually avoided getting the self-propelled because my yard is so small.
right.
I just didn't think it was worth it. And,
Mhm.
give me a little extra, oomph to make sure I'm walking
Yeah.
and pushing and getting some cardio in.
My last one was like that too. So I mean, I loved it. I think it lasted forever. I bought it used. Actually, my dad bought it used because, that's when I got the last house, and I told my dad, can you find a lawnmower for me? And he come back like
You
three of
brought
them.
like 4 of them, 3 or 4 of them,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, Dad. So that's the one I picked. I picked Aaron's mower, and it lasted for a long time.
Yeah,
until
Aaron's, you can't kill an Aaron's, man. They're
Except-
my snowblowers and Aaron's.
I killed it by hitting the storm drain in the backyard, and it freezed up the motor. So, yeah, it was the storm drain tends to get sinkholes around it, and I kind of it sunk, and my mower sunk, and the blades hit the thing, and it died. So I bought a new one. I ended up getting a self-propelled one, and I'm kind of glad at the moment that I do. So
yeah,
because it's definitely a little easier. It takes 45, 50 minutes to do the lawn, so it's not horrible. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. I got a small yard. Like I got, there's some of my neighbors a yard smaller than mine, and I got the riding mower. Like, they're done in 5 minutes. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, I see that. I do see that. I have people whose yards that are as small as mine in my neighborhood with the riding mowers, and it's like, where do you even park it? What the hell?
God. Why?
All you have to do is start it and then move it out of its parking spot. You're half done.
I know. It's just crazy. I couldn't see it. If I had I'd need a bigger yard to justify a riding mower.
If I had my mom's house, maybe that's close.
That's not that big a yard.
No, really, it isn't. I really needed one when I was in the house that I was living in with Erica for the long time in Greece.
Yeah.
Because that was
Greece. Well, that was you had a much bigger yard.
When I was over on the old house, the old farmhouse.
Yeah.
That needed it because that was a weekend project when it had to mow.
Yes, I remember in my parents' house when we usually had a riding mower, but the riding mower didn't always work. And sometimes I had to resort to the push mower with 2 acres a yard.
Oh, Jesus.
So that was a long time. With a riding mower, it took usually about 2 hours to mow the lawn. So if I didn't have a riding mower, I didn't finish it usually.
Yeah, you're doing sections every day at that point.
So, but that was my quote unquote job at my parents' house. So that was the lawnmower. I still remember the first time my dad put me on a riding mower. He gave me the basics, and then he went and did something, and I remember riding into a bush, not knowing how to get out of gear, not knowing how to change gears, and I remember just not knowing how to turn it off even because he just taught me really the basics. I don't remember how old I was, and I was in the bush, and I was standing up on the brake pedal, yelling for my dad, and but I didn't know what to do. Couldn't change gears. Couldn't turn. I didn't even think about turning the key off. He didn't tell me anything. But those were the days.
Those were the days. Yeah, never mind. Okay, we just lost half of our listenership right there.
So the other half who are staying around,
we appreciate you hanging in there
through our wonderful singing. Oh, so how are you doing?
I'm okay. These past couple of days, I have just been drained. Just drained. But that's my own fault, really, when it comes right down to it. I was joking with Tanya the other day. I tried getting back on the rowing machine for the first time in months, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my knee buckled a little bit. It was like I was not going really hard, full throttle, but I was going just enough that my knee tweaked a little bit. I've been having some issues with my good knee. My left knee is my bad knee. My right knee's been talking up. It's like, you've been doing all this stuff but not paying attention to me, huh? And that kind of thing. And I'm like, all right, well, okay. I stretched out a little bit. I wrapped it in an ace bandage, tried again. No, it's just not comfortable. Okay, well, we'll work on that. And then so I decided, well, I want to keep active. I want to at least get something done. So I'll sit down on the Bowflex. I'll do some, upper body stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do some bench things and shoulder presses and stuff like that. I got the second rep out. I'm pushing out, and all of a sudden my entire right shoulder just decided, no. And I'm like, what is going on here? My best friend is going through cancer treatments and can run for 5 miles. I am fine, and I can't row, or I can't bench press 80 pounds. I am feeling completely like miserable at the
Your
moment.
body is just rebelling against everything there. Jeez.
It is. It's just like, no, you really need a break.
Mm.
I'm taking the first week of June off. Did I
Oh,
tell
yeah?
you that?
No.
Because Memorial Day is Monday the 31st of May. And I'm like, all right, I'm just blowing 4 vacation days. I'll take out Tuesday through Friday there. And I'll just, go from Saturday to, the Saturday of May, the last Saturday of May to the first Sunday in June, and just be like, done. Okay, I'm just going to sit around.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you going to go anywhere? Yeah, bed. I'm just going to go to bed.
Hopefully the weather will be nice, so at least you can, yeah,
that'd be cool.
Even if you're just enjoying the outdoors or something or whatever, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Just, because I have got so many little projects to do around my little postage stamp yard, things that are overgrown, things that I want to clean up. So I want to do some landscaping. And I'm getting a weird echo
No,
now.
I think that was me.
Was that you?
I was playing with my thing, and it must have been a little loose.
Okay. Your thing is a little loose, Daniel?
Yes, I'm a little loose. Loose as a goose.
Yep. And my echo is gone, so I guess we're all better now.
Yeah.
No, and I'm very pleased. I managed to get some projects done around the house too. Like, I've finished painting my room, and I did it exactly the way I wanted to, where it's like a mirror of the home office, because they're side by side in the back of the house, and it came out looking really nice. And I put a fresh coat of paint on the ceiling, and I got a few odds and end details, but things are going up on the walls now, and I've moved my 2 dressers are now both on the sleeping porch.
Oh, okay. So
my room feels a little bigger now.
Yeah.
It's only a 9x10 room. My room.
Right.
So
then how was the porch during the winter?
Oh, frigid.
Yeah.
I took the door between my room and the porch off because I just wanted it out of the way while I was painting. And I'm thinking, well, during the warm weather months, I'll just keep it off. And it's made the room feel bigger because I have this doorway, this archway into the sleeping porch.
Okay.
And so it's made it very nice. And I put my infrared heater out there. So when it got brisk, I just turned the heater on low, and the room would be cozy.
Okay.
What I'm probably going to do is I'm weighing whether or not I want to put like a thermal curtain over that archway for the winter months, or if I just want to put the door back and make the room feel like shrink again, kind of a thing. I don't know. I think
you got a few months to think about it.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it being, I'm in no rush because this is my house now, right? I've been in it for almost 3 years. I have no plans of moving out anytime soon. I'm thinking in the long run, all of the storm windows that are the the boundary of my sleeping porch, I'll have those all removed, and I'll put regular, actual like triple pane regular like windows in, and then I can take a couple of pieces of ductwork and just have the heat sent out there as well. So I can channel, so it's going into my room and into the porch at the same time.
My mom's doing that right now with her. She has a sunroom with has basically the storm windows there. It's just the storm window, so she's getting regular pane windows put in there. So yeah, How many? Is there a lot of windows there?
They're all big. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 on the sides, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 across the facing, the south south facing. So no, 8. There's 8 windows, but they're big. They're larger than normal windows, so they would probably be something like almost, I want to say, 12 regular windows.
Wow, yeah, so that's a lot of windows. Yeah,
yeah. So I'm pretty sure they'll have some interesting ways to get around stuff like that too, and maybe some customs and whatnot. So it won't be a cheap job, but it's a down the road job.
Right. It'd be a nice thing to do to really make it living space there.
Yeah. I mean, my ultimate long-term plan is to finish converting the attic completely into a full room.
Right.
And then that'll be my bedroom. And I'll take the office and move it over to my old room so that I can have the office and the sleeping porch to be kind of like the central sanctuary kind of hangout area for me. Okay. And then I can turn what's currently the office into like a guest room for when people come visit.
Okay.
because Jules and Ian's rooms, I've made a pledge, signed a pack and everything. It's always going to be Jules and Ian's room.
Mm-hmm.
So if they ever need it, or when they eventually have kids of their own and the grandkids come over, then they can stay in Papa's house and they can be in their dad's room or their mom's room or whatever the case may be.
Kids.
I know. I've been talking about shit like that. It's weird. That's something I was thinking about today. I'm like, what are Dan and I going to talk about? It's so weird to think long term when I didn't as a kid. I remember because we were both born in 1970. And I remember in the late 70s, early 80s, somebody once asked when I was in grade school, "Oh, how old are you going to be in 2000? Because 2000 is the big, cool, mysterious science fiction number." And I'm like, "Oh shit, wow." Well, I didn't say "oh shit" back when I was 9 years old. Maybe I did. Never mind.
Who knows?
I'm like, wow, I'm going to be 30 years old in 2000.
That's old.
Wow. I couldn't even imagine that. And I never planned beyond that point, right?
Well, that was an old, for when they're that young, they're 30 is old.
That's huge. I mean, my parents were 27 when they had me. So 27 plus 9, my parents were 36. Oh my God. They were 30. I remember my mom's 40th birthday when I was like 12, I think, something like that. My mom was turning 40. Oh my God. We had a surprise party for her and everything. And I was so blown away by the fact that my mom's turning 40. And now I look back at 40 and it's like, wow, I was a kid. I was so young. It's so weird.
It's so relative. I mean, they say time is relative, and it is. I mean, 50 used to be such a big number. I mean, that's ancient.
Right. We've demystified it. We really have. Yeah. Because you and I are fairly young 50-year-olds. I mean, like to notwithstanding our aches and pains, notwithstanding, we're fairly young for 50. I still blow people away when I tell them I'm 50.
You got that hair. Jeez.
Well, and I have no idea how I have this hair. It's so much of it and still dark, right? Like I have the gray across my chest. When I grow my beard out, my chin is gray. I've got gray, a little shock through my sideburns, things like that. So it's there.
But the head is keeping it.
I have this big mop of dark hair. I look like one of the Beatles still.
That's awesome. Yeah. Enjoy it while you can.
I will. I plan on it.
You wake up one day, suddenly just boom.
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't that be funny as hell? Oh my God. I just wake up one morning. Yeah. I go into the bathroom, have my morning pee, and I look at the mirror and I just typical. And then just go about my business, right? It would just be me. It would just be it. Just typical. But like I was saying though, I didn't really plan ahead. And I think, the way I handled college is very indicative of that. When I got out of college, the early young adult years, I went from contract to contract, from temp job to temp job. And I didn't really think things through. I wasn't like, well, where am I going to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? I didn't really think about stuff like that. And now when I moved into this house, almost 3 years ago now, and I'm on my own, my wife and I are separated. Okay, cool. And all right, that happened. We can both go about our business and try to be happy again. And now it finally struck me. I'm like, I really have to start thinking about what my retirement's going to look like, what my next few years are going to look like. I'm looking at the house going, this is not just another step on the road to somewhere else. This is my house for the time being, until something dramatic happens.
Foreseeable future.
Yeah, for the foreseeable future. This is my place in the world. Is this little digs here?
But that was a big change in your life. I mean separating out. I mean, actually separating and moving out and getting your own place, moving out on your own. Yeah, that was a big step. I mean, when's the last time you lived on your own?
Oh Jesus, never.
See, we lived together.
Never lived on my own. I was either at my parents' house. Technically, I guess. I mean, I had a solo room when I was my last 2 years of college because I was an RA.
But you're part of college.
I'm living in a building with a couple hundred of my closest friends.
Yeah, it's a dorms.
Yeah,
dorms, and you lived there. You lived in the house the house out there, and with other guys there, and
yeah.
We lived with me
with you for a while,
and then Erica. I mean, this is a big change. So it definitely needs some more reflective and looking forward. What do where's your life going, kind of thing. It's a plus we're middle age here. I mean, we're halfway, at least about halfway through our life here. So
yep, that's true. That's very true.
Got to think about the next 50 years that we're going to do.
So now the planning begins, and it's stuff like figuring out, okay, how am I going to handle retirement? Coming up with an actual decision-making process that, okay, I'm looking at the world like I'm preparing for my next stages in it. I'm actually preparing, not just sitting there and letting it happen,
Mm-hmm.
which is so weird, writing particular documents that I may need in the future, and setting things aside and making sure things are accounted for. It's very strange.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of watershed moments in my office working for the city where about a year after I got the promotion to code enforcement, so I had been working for the city for about 3 years at that point. So about a year later, a whole echelon of the senior folks just retired. We lost like 8 people of the 26 inspectors just right off the bat. And so it was interesting to see,
Mm-hmm.
and we just are kind of in the trailing edges of the second,
Okay.
retirement slew where we've lost since last fall. We've lost 6.
Wow.
One guy just walked out the door last week for the last time, and retired. And it's kind of wild because his youngest sister and I went to school together in grammar school. So it's like I've known the family for most of my life. It's kind of wild.
That's pretty cool.
But then people will ask invariably, well, Chris, what's your general plan? And I will make the joke that, my wake and my retirement party will be the same event.
Yeah. Hopefully not, but
Yeah, I know. But yeah, because I started late. Everybody's talking about when they'll get their 25 years, when they'll get their 30 years, and I like my work buddy, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
He came in young. I mean, he was in his 20s when he started for the city, and he started a month before I did. And so he's planning everything out for when he turns his 30 years in. He'll be in his 50s. So he'll do this, that, and the other thing, and then he'll do his, as soon as he can qualify for this, that, and the other thing, he'll retire. Okay, cool, good for you. I was 39 when I started. So my 30s if I stayed to 30, I would be 69 years old, working right up until when I'm almost 70. I can't imagine myself doing that. So my plan is to pull the ripcord at 25. So I'll be like 64 years old when I retire.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do because I want to be working at least till the kids are through college.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, unlike yours, mine are 11 and almost 9 right now. So I got a few years for that to get through. So, I've been at Paychex for, what year is this? 23 and a half years. So
mm-hmm.
I'm foreseeing at least probably another 10 years there at least.
Mm-hmm.
I might be up to 65 there. I don't know.
It's entirely feasible, and the thing is 64, 65 is not going to be old man for us. We're not going to be crunching around on canes, I hope.
Right, I hope not.
Yeah, seriously. But, and then, I made the joke in the early days of FC3. I've got 20 of these in me, and I'm sticking to that. At FC320 will be my last show as a full member of the board, as a full member of, of the staff and whatnot. Of course, she'll keep going, and I'll be volunteering and putzing around in the back,
participating
and popping in on people's podcasts and things like that. But it's making that plan and realizing your place in the world and being like, wow, and it what's done, Dan, is it's helped me your illness and coming to grips with the fact that I'm 50, that's middle, and making all these plans and giving that kind of look down the road. I still have my morbid fear of my own mortality, that I don't like talking about. But it gives me that perspective that I can start looking at the things that I want to do in earnest, and then mesh that with my call to arms that I've been voicing lately. Do the thing. Yep. James Bourne even he's created the hashtag "Do the thing," and we're going to use it. Do the thing, man.
Do the thing.
It's really
you got to plan for the future, but you got to live the now too. Live the now and work for the future.
You got to live it. You just got to live it. It's just a thing.
It's just you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Right.
I didn't. Back in the beginning of September, well, actually, I was starting to suspect something then. But over the last summer, I was not expecting anything. Why would you expect to have, that in a month or two I'd be diagnosed with cancer? I had it already. I didn't, and I was there's stuff happening that I knew something was not right. I did not expect cancer for quite a while until it was getting into late August, probably. Actually, no, yeah, sometime in August is when I started to suspect something was more wrong than right.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the beginning of September, I went to my doctor, and then it just was a quick journey from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but you got to do the thing because you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm
Right.
hoping you're going to get through this, but something else could happen. Another year from now, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And and I could be out running and I could have an accident out there or something. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. So it's just a matter of taking command of your life and doing something with it instead of sitting around and
plan for the future, but don't forget about the now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's people who put everything towards the future. Well, I got to save up my nest egg. Save it for when, and when I retire, I'm gonna do this. But what if you don't make it to retirement for some reason? Do it now. Do what you can
seriously.
now.
Buy the things, do the things, and it just don't be irresponsible. But I mean, I've been living paycheck to paycheck pretty much my entire adult life. So imagine my surprise when Payday Friday came around last week and I went into my account just to check to make sure I had grocery money, and I saw this astronomical number. And I'm like, wait, what the hell happened? How did I get all this? Did I do like an overtime thing? And was it? I'm trying to calculate it, and I looked back and I scrolled back through the history. And I realized I hadn't spent everything from the previous week.
Well, good.
I did, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I had a little extra. That's so cool.
Let's keep this going.
I know, seriously. That's like
that account, yeah.
Yeah, don't go on a spending spree now. Just keep doing what you're doing is basically what I was thinking. I'm like, oh my God,
that's awesome.
Shit's actually working for a change. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah. Living in life, man, I'm telling you.
Living in life, because there's stuff I want to do.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to do? Tell me something you want to do. And don't say Debbie Gibson. I know that's a given.
Well, my immediate goal is to get through this cancer, and I want to finish a marathon, do another marathon this year.
That'd be
fantastic.
Kind of
celebrate. Besides that, I mean, I definitely want to travel. I mean, England is on somewhere on my vacation list. Go to England.
Right.
I want to go to Disney World again. I want to go to Disneyland. I want to go to California. And see the sights of California again. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do right now.
Well, come up with some ideas. We got things to do, man.
Yeah.
Just find the thing to do and then do it.
I mean, part of me really wants us to. I really want us to succeed with Flower City Comic Con. I want us to succeed. I want us to do better with our podcast. I'd love to see our reach go out for that. I'm not saying it's something we can retire on necessarily, but I'd love to see, I enjoy doing this with you. I'd love to, and people enjoy it. I'd love to be able to expand our reach for that, just to give us something to share with everybody. It's just to be able to share ourselves, share our experience, share our lives.
It's building legacy.
People. Yeah. I'd love to be able to do that. And I've always wanted to get to write a novel, write a book of some sort.
Yeah.
We've talked about that for pretty much our entire
lives together.
Yeah.
Ever since we first met when we were 14, we were talking about writing stories and books and things like that.
And we've never finished books.
Nope. Not a one.
Nope.
I finished a couple of short stories, but that's about it.
Yeah, I got a bunch of from our dude stories and stuff.
Yeah, I remember those. You know what? That's something I'm going to work on when I have my vacation in June. Is I'm going to start laying down and the dynamics of my book, and I'm going to start working on it again.
I started something beginning of last year.
I remember.
And I actually got pretty far in it. And
was that the memoir narrative journal?
Yeah, it was more about like a memoir
based on your,
because we had started that other story too, our sci-fi story.
Right.
You
We've had a
did
couple
start
of
that,
permutations of that over the years.
and I do have some starting. I do have some a good start of that, and I think we had a good base for it, basic base for it. But I sort of got sidetracked with writing this, which is basically kind of like a memoir type of book, a story, and I want to get back to that because I have all my everything for that, and I think that could be not easy to finish, but I think that would be
I'm
doable.
actually, in recent weeks, the more I've been thinking about the story that I wanted to write, the sci-fi book that I wanted to write, in recent weeks, I've been thinking about it again. And I think it culminates in the whole, what I just said a moment ago, that I'm going to sit down during my vacation in June and really start working on developing it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm almost becoming glad that it's taken me this long, because I've always wanted my stories to have some sort of social commentary, to look at humanity as it is now and talk about how it could develop to be better in the future. And I've always prided myself on being somewhat open-minded, right? I've tried to be very accepting. I've tried to, be able to be inclusive and look at people for who they are, not for who, the narrow-minded would make me think they are, But I know that I've also suffered from bouts of white privilege and subtle racism that's been inbred into us because of society, and I'm happy that I'm able to be aware of it, accept it, and do better. I want to do better. I want to be more accepting. I want to be better. I want to be the ally that people deserve. And in recent weeks, I've been thinking about the story as I was structuring it, the crew, the personalities, the people. And while I was trying to lace in diversity, it was a very ham-fisted attempt. The more I looked at the characters and the more I looked at the relationships and the more I was looking at things, I was like, wow, this, in today's society, with this great awareness and awakening that we are experiencing, that we're in the middle of, this story would fall flat because it would be short of what would be desired. There would be things that were just too much of a trope, too much of a stereotype, too much. There are things here where it was like, well, this is a guy who's sitting back and looking at something with the privilege of not being affected by other things. And I was grateful that actually, for the first time in a long time, I was grateful that my procrastination streak was so apparent, because it gave me the opportunity of now re-examining how I want to approach things from this new era that we're living in right now, looking at the story and making it better.
So what did you think about the crew and then Discovery?
I like the crew of Discovery. I think they could do a little bit more with the B parts, the support people in the background. And I think in season 3, you started seeing, the rest of the bridge crew doing more and being more involved. It wasn't just Michael and the rest. Michael and Saru leading the charge.
There's a very interesting variety of characters, I thought.
Yes, I thought so as well.
It was very diverse. They brought in all different types. I mean, it felt natural.
Like the two guys, the communications guy and the weapons guy. I can't remember their names to save my life. I feel terrible about that right now because I really do want to rewatch Discovery. I've enjoyed Discovery.
It took, for some reason, I don't know why, because I love Star Trek in general, and I don't know why it took me that long. I kept on trying, and I kept getting sidetracked. So,
well, season 1 is a chaotic mess.
Yeah, and I focused this time, and I stuck with it, and I did. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to next season there. So yeah, I mean, I did enjoy it once I got to it. It took me a little bit to get into it. But yeah, I thought it was a very interesting mix of characters. So yeah, I mean, you got to maybe not try hard and just see what organically works.
That's, you hit the key right there on the head. I'm telling you, that's perfect, because I think that's what I was trying to do, was create all of these characters, and I wanted them to fit certain things and then give them twists so they weren't just stuck in a stereotype, right? And then I realized in the process I was creating them too set in stone. And to be fair, there was several characters that were laced in after people that I knew. Right. There's a lot of characters in my story that are tributes to folks that I know. And one in particular, the guy who's going to be the chief engineer of the hero ship, is based on our buddy Brian, who passed away several years ago. and I want to kind of immortalize the way I always saw him, especially when we were playing our Star Trek Online game together, and to have the way he looked at things and the way that he kind of, his sense of humor and whatnot. I wanted to try and do what I could to remember it. Unfortunately, now I'm going to be writing a lot of his lines from 13 years later,
right?
So I really haven't had a meaningful conversation with him in a very long time. But my goal is to eventually, when I write it, I'm going to send it to his wife and say, is this really him? Have I captured him? What do you remember? Tell me. So I
have such a big regret that I wasn't able to make it down the last time you guys visited him.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to go with you guys, and I don't remember why I ended up not, but I really regretted that last time there.
Yeah.
And that's always been a huge regret. Yeah.
Well, I haven't been back to Kansas City since it happened, so
yeah.
I've only seen a picture of his gravesite, so I want to go see it in person. I want to be able to see Annette and Arwen and visit with the girls and see how they're doing, and so you're going with me then. We'll go together, and we'll take a very much longer road trip because Scott and I drove 16 hours straight, and
oh jeez, yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot of drive. That's hard on a car.
That was hard on a car. Screw the car. It was hard on us.
It's hard being in the car, sitting in there for that long straight is kind of what I meant to say. I kind of skipped a whole bunch of words in that statement there.
And I felt bad because Scott, he iron horsed it, man. He was behind the wheel for the entire 2 hours we were in that car. The 16 there and the 16 back. I kept offering him like, I can drive for a little bit. He goes, no, I got it. It's good. It's okay.
Jeez.
All right. So I passed out in the seat on several occasions in the passenger seat. I was trying to stay awake.
Long time to drive, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to stay awake to help him out, but I was snoring often. I know this because he told me repeatedly.
But yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's getting the characters down. That's what I have trouble with, the character development.
Yeah,
and you're
it's
so
okay.
Good. Yeah,
the more you do it, I think that's the thing is you and I are doing a great job of talking about it, but we have not done a very good job of actually doing it. And I think
following through and getting it done. Yeah,
yeah. The more we do it, the better it'll be. That's the thing.
I just finished up a sci-fi series. It's called Star Force.
Mm-hmm.
85 books.
85 books.
Again, a lot of these were fairly short, but it spans basically from present time to like 150,000 years in the future.
Oh my God!
So it was very interesting. The author's name, I can't remember the author's name because it's not a normal type of name, but and it didn't finish. It just, I think that's the last book he wrote so far. I think he's still going, but it was very interesting to see the development of the Star Force, basically from think about present day world and advancing from there and how it happened and the change he introduced them to society and this and that and everything, and it's just like, wow, this is really quite a epic story that he's going through here, because talking about galactic conquest and universal conquering the universe basically at the end of this thing kind of thing.
Wow.
So
okay,
but it's very interesting how he throws a lot of there's a lot of 80s references, a lot of them because around this time, a lot of current day references, even like 150,000 years in the future, because they discovered the secret of longevity. So these people have been alive for the entire time of the story from here and everything. But it's just, I started reading it and I'm like, okay. And then I thought it was just a short series of books. Then I see, of 85 books, I'm like, whoa, this is a serious commitment there.
Are they long books? Or were they really?
The first ones were longer, but eventually the end ones were not that long.
Okay.
So it's 85, but they're not. But they each cover a specific subject there, a thing there. So it's really, they build on each other, and it's really. I was impressed in how well it all worked together. And so it was kind of they brought in a lot of Star Wars references. They talk a lot about the light side and the dark side. Like they learned the light side, and the whole thing with Star Force is to live the light, be the light side type of thing. And everyone, and not, so it was just very interesting as far as you know me. I love reading. I read crazy amount of stuff sometimes,
Yeah.
and just looking at the how they build the stories and how they build the characters and what how they circle the characters in and out, and they use them, especially in these long epic stories. There's been a bunch of series that I've read that have spanned many books, and some of them always focus on a main character that goes through all of them, and other ones there's a set of characters which they kind of cycle through, and sometimes there's minor characters they bring in and they become at least major for that time, and then they go away, but then they might come back again later. And it's just all the interplay of all the characters. Like, boy, you really got to think about it and plan it out.
Yeah.
You can't just sit there necessarily for these type of books and just write.
I remember being able to do that though, but that was when it was just nonsensical short stories.
Right. Adventures of the Six Dudes. Adventures of the Twin Towers.
That's it.
Yeah.
Model
yep.
Mia.
Those were the days. But yeah, so back to definitely getting a book written is a goal. So I want to get through. I'd like to get through what I started last year, because I think I can get through that, and I know I need to go through it. What I've done already, I need to go through again, and I got some ideas to do that. And I think about it every so often, but it's just hard to get the time.
Well, we had started coming up with our own little universe of sorts, and I still have all of those notes, which would be great, because I'd share that with people. As we're writing our stories, here's this whole universe of potential. Go ahead and write whatever the hell you want. Just use this as your baseline.
Well, we'd have to kind of control it. We don't want it to go wild. We want it.
Well, that's true.
You kind of want something more
have some
like,
sort of consistency.
Something that approval of stories type of thing. Control our universe.
That works.
So you can write. Come to us with the ideas, and we'll make sure it's consistent with the universe, that it fits in. But it's your story, but it's in our universe, but we want some control over it, type of thing.
The monkeyverse.
That's right, the monkeyverse. That's what we called it, wasn't it?
Yep, that was what I was calling it, the monkeyverse. I had this whole plan for how the website was going to fit together and look too.
That's right. Yeah, we remember talking about all that.
I still have most of those notes and spreadsheets and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So. I just realized that because I wanted this really cool twist reveal at the end of the first big story that I wrote. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, that's kind of lame. It's like, all right, so what's so significant about that? Why is that important? Why is that a big drama thing? So I'm like, oh, okay. So I need to stop and think about this a little bit. Need to figure it out. So
we've had all this time. Let's use our experience to our advantage here, and let's and write something that is good.
I like it. Very good.
Well, it's one of our things we're going to do.
Yep. We're going to do the thing. Hashtag do the thing.
Spread it around. Use it.
Yep. Spread it. Yep. Use it. Hashtag do the thing.
Start a movement. Start a do the thing movement.
Oh, I like it. I like it. We'll have to go out. We're going to have to eventually start doing TikToks.
We've talked about that.
We have talked about that.
As soon as we get together again, as soon as we get together in person.
Yep. We're both fully vaccinated now, right?
Yes, we are.
Yep. So we can start seeing each other in person. That's so cool.
And we'll go, who are you?
I know. Hey, I know you.
You look so 3D. Not flat like I usually see you. Yeah, because I got the portable podcasting stuff now, so we can try that. Hopefully that works out well. We can do the podcasting and just be able to be in the same room and have these conversations. That's
when it's going to be better. That's where we're going to have some
fun. We're doing okay, I think, remotely, but you just it's definitely not the same vibe.
No.
No. We saw that with monkey. We see that with monkey business. I mean, the vibe isn't quite the same, and it's easy you're talking over people easy because it's harder to, you're not catching them, they're talking and stuff. And but it's just being in the same room vibe, and you're there for the purpose versus just rolling out of bed and into your chair and
doing the thing.
Right. At least we're doing the thing.
Yeah.
At least we've kept it going. So I mean, I
So
love that we've been able to do that.
so when we start getting back together again, the four of us, you, me, Tanya, and Billy,
Mm-hmm.
um, are we going to be meeting at your house? Or are you coming here? How's that going to work?
We'll make it up as we go.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking to be instead of being like a panel across, the folding table like we were, I want to just be around the table. And if we're going to videotape it, just put something in the middle, because I miss looking at them. I remember when we were we were at your house in the basement there. It was hard to talk to Billy because I had to look through Tanya to get to him. You know. And I know we were trying to videotape it and all that stuff. I just was like, you know what? Let's just go around the table so we can just talk to each other.
Yeah, I think we should just we just do it. Try to be more organic about it, and just not so much. I'm not going to worry about recording it and video it and stuff. It's just more. We'll take some video, use it like kind of like promote it and stuff. But I'm not going to worry about recording the whole session. I think, and let's just do the thing. Let's get the podcast done. Let's have fun.
I like it. We're going to evolve the podcast a little bit, start doing some stuff to make it better. And then James Irish and his gang, and Chrissy are doing theirs. And James Irish and his buddy Pembroke are doing theirs. And then you and I've got ours. And the girls have got comic chicks. There's so many things going on. I love it.
And we got a convention on top of all this.
That's amazing. I mean, I've almost forgotten about the convention sometimes.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah, so September, we're going to go for it, huh?
I think, yeah. I mean,
are you nervous about that at all?
A little bit.
Yeah,
just
same
because with the recent confusing announcement from the governor that things are going to open on May 19th.
This guy's got to go. I mean, let me tell you, I was a Democrat. I'm still slightly more liberal than the average bear, and even I'm saying this guy's got to go. He's just.
We need somebody. We need some new blood in there.
We do. We need somebody who's not like somebody open to ideas and is accepting of the possibility that something they do might be wrong, and and willing to acknowledge that and then fix it. That would be nice. That would be refreshing.
Right.
Oh my God.
We just need some like for almost anything. You need term limits. You need the new blood in there to change things up.
Right.
I'm not saying it has to be another Democrat. I'm not saying it has to be a Republican. I'm not saying anything, but it has to be somebody who's at least in the middle there. But we just need some, there should be term limits for everything, and we got to change things up, because otherwise we just get so stuck in stuff. And we need to change. We need to change with the times.
Yep.
I mean, we got the oldest president now ever.
And most of the upper echelon of Congress are ancient. And that's the thing is, you were saying new blood. The generation has to be able to evolve. What's happening right now in Washington is entirely the fault of the fact that the generation that is the senior most leadership on both sides, I'm not going to point fingers at either political party, they're too old to understand that their way of looking at things is what's causing the problem in the first place. They have to be able to step aside and let other folks step up.
Right. It wasn't meant to be a lifetime career.
Everything is so polarized right now, and it's their fault because they're the ones who are just digging their heels in.
And they're never going to vote themselves term limits.
No, they aren't.
So,
but the new folks might. The new folks might be daring enough to pull it off.
That'd be something. I'd love to get some more younger blood in there. I mean, it's been interesting to see some of the newer, AOC, whatever, her.
And her squad, yeah.
I mean, just to see a young person and what especially when she first got sworn in and stuff, is very interesting to follow her to see it's just her perspective on things.
Yes.
I'm not saying 100% agree with everything, but you're never going to 100% agree with anybody.
No. Nor should you.
No.
Nor should you, because it's more important. The disagreements are more important than the agreements. Sure, agreeing on everything makes it easier to get certain agendas done, but does that mean the correct answer is because you agree with each other, or are you skirting around the correct answer because you're for expediency's sake?
Right, and you also have to have that ability to compromise. Not just you can't set your heels in so deep you're not going to move, which is what everybody's doing. I'm not going to give out on anything. If you don't do what I want, I'm not going to do what you want, type of thing. You need the compromise is still lacking there. There's still the whole partisan thing is horrible.
It is. It's terrible, and everybody's to blame for it.
And that's not going to go away either because, they got too much power there. So they're not going they wouldn't go willingly. But yeah, so how can we save the world with that, Chris? How can we save? Well, we did. We got to get term limits in there. You need some younger blood in there. We need some different blood. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily younger. We need different blood. I'm not saying younger is better. I just need different.
Different works. Well, and that's I think, like I said, we've talked about this before. You and I just ramble through our conversations and we just chat. We chat about our history. We chat about, we tell anecdotes and stories about things that we've done and things that we've seen, things we like to do. But along the way, we always try to put in something to think about. Mm-hmm. Like today we're doing our Do the Thing, but we're also not only just talking about how we want to write books, but we're also talking about planning and looking ahead. And don't get so mired in looking ahead that you forget to live in today. That was your message, right? Yep. Which is very important. And I've heard that.
Balance of the two, yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard that before, and it's very valid. Mm-hmm. But just keep thinking forward, but keep your head here at the same time. But these are things we need to worry about. Looking ahead is something you need to do. It's important. You just can't keep blundering through your life and thinking, okay, well, everything will work itself out next week. Everything will work itself out next month. Everything will work out next year. No, you got to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success now.
Exactly.
And then living in the now and being part of the now so that you'll be ready for tomorrow when it comes. And then on the other hand, on the B side of the conversation, we talk a little politics, and yeah, you're right. Term limits is a thing. I've been agreeing with people about term limits for a long time, but there's a caveat for me, being politically aware as I am, being studied and experienced in it to the degree that I am. I'm not a professional operative by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of things have to happen before term limits go into play. And that is removing money from the equation. Yes. You get rid of, Citizens United. You get rid of, political action committees. You get rid of lobbyists. You cut that whole cancer out of the political system, and you take the incentive to be bought out. Right. Once you have done that, then you cheesecake it with term limits. Mm-hmm. Because term limits are just an obstacle that the people who have bought Congress need to go through. Okay, my guy's running out in 4 years. All right, well, I'll start grooming another guy to take his place, and then I'll buy him the seat when my guy is done.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, it's going to perpetuate the cycle just with different faces. You're still going to have the corporate-sponsored moron, and it's just, okay, well, we had corporate sponsored moron number one. He retired because of term limits. Now we have corporate sponsored moron number two. Yeah. Does that voice is that the voice of the people? No, it's the voice of the corporate who bought them.
Yeah. Okay. So we got two things though. So term limits and get rid of the.
Yeah. You have to do the campaign finance reform. You have to take a lot of the money out of the system, and how much fun will that be?
No more these billion-dollar campaigns, huh?
Yeah. Well, money does not like being removed from the process. Money fights hard to be kept where it is. So that is going to be the biggest challenge. But once you have done that, once you can secure the integrity of your system, then you can put the additional safeguards in, knowing that they will work for the betterment of the system. And then you will find people who are still going to be career politicians, but they're going to be called to it. They're going to want to be there, or they're not going to want to be there, but they know it's their duty, it's their mission to represent their people. Which was what it was originally meant to be.
Right.
And that's when I think that's when you're going to see the true evolution of what the United States was always meant to be. At this point, you're going to see the foundation of the Federation rather than the Ferengi.
What we have right now, yeah.
Than what we have right now. You're not going to see what we have right now, which is disaster. It's freaking disaster. And ignorance.
How can we get to that point, though? Jeez.
Oh, how did we get here? Is that what you just said?
How can we get to it? How can we get to it?
How can, yeah. Well, it's going to take some work. It's going to take a lot of the people who want to wash their hands of the system are going to have to be the ones that get involved. There is a whole host of people out there who will be like, I don't want to be in politics because it's terrible. It's fatally boring. It's corrupt. It's awful. And I don't want to be in that. I don't want to compromise my values and my way of looking at the world. Well, unfortunately, you're the people we need.
Right.
The people with integrity.
The people who see that there's a problem. We need them to help fix the problem,
Yep.
not just walk away from it.
Yep. But that's the thing is, like I made the comment, I would hate to run for politics. I would love to run for politics, but I would just hate to run in the current atmosphere of politics.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh, we'd love it if you ran for something. I'm like, yeah, but I would never be successful.
Right.
I would never be successful because I would go in barnstorming. I would go in to tear things apart so that I could rebuild them. And the establishment, no matter who's running the party of it, the establishment would be like, no, we're not going to let you do that. No, we like things the way they are. You're not going to get to do that.
I don't want to. They don't want to lose their power. So,
and that's where we are right now. We have a thoroughly, perfectly corrupt society at the moment because of it.
That's kind of bringing us to a low note here.
But that's okay. It's okay because it's part you talk about what's the ancient phrase. Talking or acknowledging that you have a problem is the first step towards correcting it.
Right. And getting more people to acknowledge it is going to be is going to help. And if we can get more and more people to acknowledge it, then maybe something can be done. And I'm hoping that, especially after these past 4+ years, that more people realize that there is a problem in our politics, and they're not just turning up, not just living in their little world. They're looking more at the big picture of things and seeing that there is a problem. The big picture is what that's why I like to believe that I'm very good at focusing on the big picture. For what I do at work, I think that I see the big picture more than a lot of some of my coworkers, kind of thing. I'm able to step back and you're asking for you're asking me to do this, but this is what the whole thing is doing. How is this going to affect everything else? So and people don't look at the world; they look in their own little part of the world necessarily. This is me. This is me. I'm in my little bubble here. How does this affect my little bubble? Not how does it affect everything. Right. We're I think a lot of times, I almost think that having the different states is almost more of a states have too much power. We're not. It divides us too much. Yeah, and I have. The thing is you can see a fundamental difference now in ideology where Republicans are basically states' rights, to the point where I feel it's almost detrimental. You're going to divide the country into 50 different countries if you go too far with it. And the federal government's only supposed to do this, this, and this. And I'm of the opposite opinion, where I'm a very federalist, where we live in a society these days on a planet where you need to be coming together. There has to be one vision holding everything together. It's a much smaller world than it used to be. It is a lot smaller. You cannot do the whole more power to the states, because that's only going to divide it was needed at the time this country was created. Because it took communication. You couldn't communicate. Everything took a long time, but so it is compartmentalized. It was. I mean, it made sense at the time, but it doesn't make sense now. Now we're just a divided country. We're not the United States. We're the divided states of America. Oh, absolutely. And you see it more all the time. With all these different state rules. Like Florida's trying to, outlaw social media companies from censorship. They want censorship. Florida politicians kind of thing. It's like that. It's it's insane because that's another thing. I mean, that's an entirely different conversation. That's probably next podcast. Yeah. Right. Because what I've seen, I think the biggest detriment of the past 4+ years was there was already polarization. This previous president did not create polarization. He just amplified it to a whole new level. Yeah, he built it and made it stronger, and he liked it instead of trying to fight to assuage it. He fed it. He fed that fire with gasoline and and now we have this. We're in this pandemic. If the pandemic had never occurred, it would still be bad. With the division and the divisiveness
and then the polarization.
Yeah,
But the pandemic is only making it worse because there's people who are handling it as a political issue, not a health issue.
Right.
That's the thing that's been blowing my mind is these people who are anti-mask, anti-vaccine, anti-this, anti-that. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. You listening to people who turned it into a political talking point. It's not. This is a health crisis. This is an actual fundamental human crisis. And they turned it into political.
Well, I mean, it started that from the last term. Yeah, I mean, that's how it was treated as a political.
That just blows my mind. It blows my mind in so many different ways.
It wasn't acknowledged as a crisis. It's more of it's going to pass.
Yeah,
the other party is just making a big deal out of it. It was always the other party. And it was always so yeah.
Yeah,
we are the divided states of America, and I'd love to see us be.
I would love to find a way to fix that.
More united.
Yeah,
sometime in the not too distant future.
And I would love for it to be an organic, evolutionary thing, and not slammed together because of a crisis.
Right, and right now,
I don't want a crisis or a war or a tragedy to bring us together. I want us to be able to just stop, and before the tragedy occurs, before the crisis occurs, before the heartbreak occurs, we can stop and look at each other and go, "We're on the wrong path."
And it's crazy because the pandemic is a crisis.
It is.
And it brought us apart more.
It's weird.
It's just crazy, It's that boggled my mind how that like you said, how it was politicized, and you'd think that would have brought us closer but if it was handled differently, it might have, but with all the stuff going on with a lot of the states now trying to separate themselves even more, it's going to be a while before we can even try to be united.
Yeah.
So that's sad.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
But we need to end on a high note here. Okay, we need to switch gears to a high note if we're going to end this. We're going
to end on a high note.
We're going to end on a high note.
Oh! I like that. That works. So let me leave you with this thought.
Okay.
If necessity was the mother of invention, my question is this: who knocked up necessity, and why'd she name her kid Invention?
And on that note,
and on that happy and pious note,
okay.
So the next time we record, we're not going to be able to do the ringing phone trick because we're actually going to be in the same room.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
We're gonna do our darndest to make that happen.
We might have to just do the phone trick just for the fun of it. Why are you answering the phone? I'm sitting right next to you.
We've done this stuff before, Chris. I IM'd you when you were.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
We used to IM each other when we were sitting right next to each other.
This has been another recording of Dan and Chris Save the World. We now return you to your regularly scheduled lifetime, already in progress. Who needs Fiverr? I can do my own damn voice. This is Don Pardo wishing you good night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a high enough note for you?
Yeah, that was good. Okay.
Was that good?
Yes, that was good.
Here's another thing. I've got Legos to build. I'm 50 years old and I have Legos to build. I'm working on that. That's good stuff.
I saw that. I hope they come out with that Back to the Future set. Did you see that?
The DeLorean idea? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
I got the ideas one, which is a small one. This one will be like 3 times the size, so I'm looking forward to that one. So, I like the DeLorean.
Well. Yeah. All right. So I will talk to you very soon, most likely about 2 seconds after we finish recording.
That's very soon, yes.
That's very soon. And you guys listening at home, we love you. We hope you guys are doing great. We're still waiting for questions. Nobody's asked us any questions yet. We'll be happy to discuss your topics on Dan and Chris Save the World.
Just talk about we talk about.
Yeah, I mean, Dan and I have been friends for 36 years. We have plenty of things that we can bring up to talk about. So yes. We're not worried we're not pining for topics, but we're just giving you the opportunity to join the conversation.
For the fields?
Pining for the fields.
Sorry.
All right.
Not sorry. Never mind.
No, you're not sorry. The
Right.
one thing I'm reassured of is that Tanya will not understand that reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Bye.
Bye.